blazing. Stream is
Oh,
live. We're going guns a blazing.
You wanted to go guns a blazing. Okay.
We are.
What was funny is the jokes that have been going on forever now has been absolutely hilarious. Hey, welcome to Off the Wire Live. I am your host, Noel Lynn, aka the Cajun Libertarian. Please like, follow, share the show with everyone that you know, because we're going to have a phenomenal time tonight. We're going to have a great time. I expect you to be in the comments and help provide us with an exceptional manner of being able to facilitate your opinions as we carry through. It's going to be amazing. I'm joined by two very good friends of mine, two very intelligent, politically informed people and funny people. We're going to have an exceptional time. David and Sean. David, introduce yourself.
My name's David Lilly, also known as Pardon Will. You can find me on everything on the socials. I'm around there. I'm quiet, but I'm there. But that's me.
Awesome.
I am Sean Collins, the guy with a lot to say. I'm your host of Buds and Reality Podcast, and I'm glad to be here. Always, you're always my favorite show to do, honestly.
And both of you guys are my favorite people to have on. If I couldn't have Donald Trump on, so yeah,
no, that's true. That's true.
Or maybe a couple of Jews that I enjoy having on as well, Dave Smith and Spike Cohen. So real quick, who touched the thermostat? WhoTouchedIt.com. Who touched the thermostat? You can follow him on Twitter. You can follow him on Facebook, Instagram, because he doesn't get in trouble like I do, because he's an exceptional human being, great guy, family man, father, husband. WhoTouchedIt.com. Go check out the best spicy political shirts on the internet and available. So go check them out. WhoTouchedIt.com. That's WhoTouchedIt.com. All right. So, fellas, let's get into it. Well, let's handle these comments real quick before we get behind on so much ugly on one screen.
Yeah, but half of the screen's covered up with a beard, so it can't be that ugly.
And it would be far much uglier if Zach decided to join, and he was too scared to do that. So he said, "Dang, I didn't make the Jew cut."
No, neither did we.
Make the Jew cut.
I was told I wasn't supposed to talk about Jews. You guys better quit.
I was told my hat wasn't tiny enough. Is that one allowed?
And I was told that the Jews had to shrink their penis skin for religious reasons. Stuff.
What? Now there's a topic to start on. What is that? I don't know about that one.
Circumcision of the heart, man.
Oh, okay.
It's about letting God cut through all of the layers that we've built up. Circumcision is what I was talking about. Circumcision, a Jewish religious practice. But circumcision of the heart, according to Paul the Apostle, is what I am expressly saying.
Paul, a.k.a. Saul, is a great dude.
Yep,
he's okay.
An absolute gangster. Chris said about dang time. Yes, we were late. Chris says, I'm telling Spike he's no longer your favorite. I'll just text it to him, man.
Wouldn't that be an awkward text? Just Spike, out of the blue. Hey, by the way, you're not my favorite anymore.
Space lasers.
I know he would absolutely die laughing because he would know it would not be true. Spike is the number one guest on my show. He's the most repeated guest on my show. So, no, yeah. Not going to happen. All right. I want you guys' opinions, because obviously the news media is full on onslaught, always fear mongering. However, this is clearly horrible. We're going to say Joe Biden, and this is for air quotes for everyone listening later, authorized U.S. missiles that could reach into the interior of Russia at a long distance. And then within hours, they shot them off and started launching U.S. missiles into the interior of Russia, long-range missiles. Is this apocalyptic? Because we've seen a lot of stuff where we do crazy nonsense to escalate for no reason whatsoever. This is not going to help Ukraine win all you're doing is escalating the war. So, do you think Russia has the balls to respond in kind? Will this kick off World War III? Sean, you can go first.
Well, I do know this. I know that I got to word this properly so you don't get kicked off of YouTube, but let's just put it this way. Let's just put
APAC. Let's talk about APAC.
No,
Finally.
don't get me
Let's just
started
go
on
with it.
that. Don't. You better quit right now because we'll get into that later. But like,
I'm sure the
here's
Russians are invested in APAC by a large.
Do the Russians own the banks? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, the Jews do, but that's beside the point. But anyway, well, look it up. You could literally look up all the Federal Reserve chairs and vice chairs.
Okay, we're talking about World War
Well,
III.
I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good.
David, this is your fault. Damn it! Don't.
He's an undeveloped autist ADHD victim. He just hasn't figured out how to figure it out like we have yet. We're just gonna keep working on him. So World War III, yes or no?
No.
Potential for nuclear war, yes or no?
Possibly, but let's roll this out like this. Let's roll this out real quick like this. The Democrats are hoping, because most Americans and a lot of people believe that there will be no transfer of power during times of war. Well, we can piggyback to George Bush and Barack Obama. There was definitely war going on, and there was a transfer of power during that. So we can say enough to that nonsense.
Right. Well, because that whole is predicated upon the idea that Congress must establish a time of war, and we haven't done that since what, like the Korean War or World War II?
Well, Congress gave up all their powers after 9/11. Let's be honest, dude. They gave all their powers to the president after 9/11. Period. That's what they did.
Okay, so you're saying no to World War III, and let's dive off into the nuance in a minute because I want to get David's opinion. But you're saying that the possibility of maybe like tactical nuclear strikes within the area of maybe Kiev?
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily think that Russia has the power to just start launching off nukes. They have 6,000 nukes, right? Or they have more than 6,000 nukes. We know this. But
That's
what
right.
I don't think they necessarily are capable of handling the repercussions that will come if they start blowing off nukes everywhere. That's why I say what I say. Putin, as much as he is I don't know. I don't want to call him a smart guy, but I don't want to call him a retard either. But like,
Wait, we can say that? We can say
No,
that?
you
on-
can't say the R word on YouTube.
All right, I'm going to cross that one out off my list. Never mind.
Oh my goodness.
So easy to get buds distracted, sidetracked.
No, but seriously though, like,
See, this is the way you do it, Sean. Look at the comment. This is the way you do it, brother. The Biden puppets are a bunch of fraggots. F-R-A.
they are fraggots.
Fraggots.
They are fraggots. They're butt pirates and pillow biters and everything else.
That's right.
Can we say that? I think we can say butt pirates.
Yeah, we're good on all that.
But at the end of the day, I just don't think that Russia is going to just start nuking everybody because they're not necessarily capable of defending themselves from all of NATO. That's what I'm getting at.
Right, but with the backing of China, Iran, basically all the BRICS nations, and North Korea now, we have some of the most psychopathic dictators in the world now siding with Russia.
Who did that?
Now,
Who did that? Who made BRICS and who made no. I'm not saying nothing about nothing. But who did that though? Let me ask you guys.
Who is they though? Who's
We
they
did.
though?
David.
No, don't do it.
The short answer is we did, and we can flesh out the nuance. We did that.
So like why is there a BRICS? Why is there even a war in Ukraine in the first place? And it all leads back to the United States government. That's what I'm saying.
And central banking. And then we'll
Yes.
stop right there. Let's
We'll
let
stop.
David have his word. David, appreciate you joining us, brother.
Yeah,
Both of
no
y'all are
problem.
absolutely incredible and exceptional and a wealth of knowledge and very charismatic and just awesome to be around. Your thoughts, World War III, yes or no? Nuclear, even if it's just, very small strikes inside Ukraine, tactical nuclear weapons, yes or no?
Nah, probably not. Probably not. I don't think so. And there's a few reasons. Number one, I'm a hardcore skeptic when it comes from anything I hear in any news outlet whatsoever. It doesn't matter who owns the news outlet. I'm
Amen.
pretty skeptical. So when they're like, "Hey, Biden authorized these missiles," I'm sure Ukraine was like, "Oh wait, we've been launching these the whole time. Well, we're okay with this now, so we can be open about it." I'm pretty sure there's been American flags on all kinds of ammunition shooting over there
That's
since
right.
this thing started. We're just now hearing about it. The other thing is, I did my favorite um, news commenter, Benny Shapiro. He said this is a good thing for Trump, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So I heard him out, and he said that this is just going to push the ball forward, and it's going to help Trump with negotiations when he steps into office. And I was like, well, that seems like a weird take. That seems like a take that
Okay.
that seems just like a weird take, but it was something to consider. Does this authorizing Ukraine to launch American missiles in Russia, does that help Trump negotiate coming down the line? Like, hey, we've already opened the floodgate. Does this help old Trumpers?
That's an amazing conspiracy theory. I'm going to carry it somewhat of a possible reality of a geopolitical analysis. Let me take it to the brink of the conspiracy theory and further, because I'm just now hearing this for the first time.
Oh,
Live from you. I did not know this.
breaking news.
Breaking news. Now, this lines up magically with the idea that Joseph Robinette Biden voted for Trump and sabotaged the DNC by what the rumor on the street says is that they were going to actually hold an open primary. Excuse me.
Put your
And they
hand
didn't.
down.
What is this?
Oh, I got
Kindergarten?
something to say about that. I have something big time to say about that.
I'm sure, because when you're in elementary school, you raise your hand and you blame everything on the Jews. So
I did. That's actually pretty spot on. Yeah.
the lowest
right, it's
logical
right.
deduction possible. So this lines up perfectly with the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden sabotaged the Democratic Party. And that cheese from ear to ear when he was with Trump is undeniable.
Yeah.
Undeniable.
Yeah.
This guy, in my opinion, clearly voted for Donald Trump. So for this to happen actually lines up with the relative timeline of events that have happened since Joe Biden was backstabbed and cooed out of the presidential rerun for this particular election, that they would go ahead and escalate more, making him look even better when he resolves the situation. And anybody of sane mind, whether you're libertarian, ANCAP, far left, far right, whatever your views, you'd be a fool not to understand that this situation will get resolved very quickly under Trump.
Yeah.
It will.
Yep.
And this may help him.
Yeah, you know what?
Sean,
I think Biden's going to vote Republican from here on out until he dies, and then once he dies, then he'll go back to voting Democrat. Yeah, that's normally how that goes.
Yeah, that's great. At this point, I'm
right.
not sure he's got another election in him, but every election after him, he will be voting for the Democrats for sure.
Him and
Sean,
Jimmy
your
Carter.
thought? Him and Jimmy Carter. Oh my
Joe,
God!
man,
That's
him
a
and
whole
Jimmy
nother
Carter are going to tag team. They'll be like tag team back again, whatever. But anyways, dude, not only are you spot on with that, I know this for sure. Lunatic Libertarian in the house. Lunatic Libertarian, what's up, my dude? What's up? How you doing? But you were spot on about this. Like, dude, multiple sources had come out that said that Democrats were fixing to run a proper primary per se. But because of the fact that they literally just put Joe Biden's resignation on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, without his even consent, they just did it. Like they did this to him. Like he had no idea, not a clue what they were doing. They're like, oh, all of a sudden Joe's bouncing down. Within a half hour, that dude, he literally, I can't help but laugh. He literally endorsed Kamala Harris within a half hour of that. You can't tell me that wasn't on purpose. That was a big screw you to the establishment, to the Democratic Party, who screwed him over. He didn't know. I feel bad for Joe Biden.
I don't.
This would have never happened if the Jews hadn't got involved.
Number one. Yep, that's true. That's true.
You know,
absolutely true.
It's jokes, y'all. Settle down.
It's instead of Pax Romana, it's Pax of Judea. All roads.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. Nobody got more money than Joe Biden from AIPAC since 1990. That's a fact. Feel free to look it up.
Had Rabbi Shmuel never gone viral on the internet, none of these problems would be existing.
Right. Actually, that dude almost got his ass kicked in the streets on a video I just saw recently. Like, it was.
It's kind of out there.
But no. Seriously though, Joe Biden has received the most AIPAC funding since 1990, more than any other politician. So it seems fitting that he, backed Israel with all this nonsense or whatever. But I digress. We have to get back from this. I promised Noel we weren't going to do it. So what I'm going to say is Joe Biden most definitely helped Trump win just because of the fact he endorsed a literal quote unquote retard, our word. You can't say the whole word so we don't get canceled. He literally canceled a babbling buffoon, an idiot who doesn't know her head from her ass. And he knew what would happen from there on out. This is what happened. This is how it worked. And little do we know that Joe Biden is literally laughing in his diaper in the Oval Office going,
yeah, I actually have a conspiracy theory about this, is that Joe Biden in his most clear and precise moment decided to go and vote and do it publicly in the middle of the day so that he wasn't sundowning and he could vote for Trump and not forget who he was supposed to vote for.
I love this. You guys still think Joe Biden's old and senile. So my conspiracy theory goes way back before this. All right, let me take you back to Mar-a-Lago. Trump gets investigated by having documents he shouldn't have, right? So they raid Mar-a-Lago. What do we get like a month later? Biden's got documents. Tell me that Biden just didn't watch Trump get raided. He's like, oh my God, they're trying to raid my boy Trump? All right, bring those documents, put them next to the Corvette. Put him right there. Yeah. And then call him up and tell him I got documents too. You're telling me this doesn't go way back? Biden's just been doing. Oh, and then from here on out, the rest of the year, I'm going to pretend like I don't know where I am. I'm going to walk off stage aimlessly. I'm going to wave at people and shake hands if people aren't there. That dead lady, what's her name? Yeah, I'm going to make sure to mention that she's still alive in my speech. He could have been doing this the whole time. He's like, we are going to get Trump. It's MAGA, baby. MAGA all the way. Biden's been a MAGA fan. He's been dying to put that MAGA hat on. And finally, they cooed him. He's like, now's my time. Slipped it on.
He did, and he looked great too. He's was
like,
so
Joe,
happy.
you put that red dress on election day. You put that red dress on. Yeah, dude. He's been in it.
I just don't see how this is even a conspiracy theory at this point. I mean, unless you're going to say that the Jews did it, but I just believe that wholeheartedly. It has nothing to do with anything other than, oh my goodness, I got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, you're right.
I want this complete thing dismantled. You're gonna feel my wrath, and I say that Joe Biden's character arc is complete.
I agree.
It's complete now, despite whether he decided to launch missiles into Russia or not. Probably not. That is somebody else's decision. This guy's been checked out. He's having a great time. He's living the last bit of his life. He's done, and I think his character arc is complete. Now, with that being said, this guy's a horrible human being for almost his entire life, okay? So make no bones about that, people watching. This guy's been a terrible, terrible, terrible human being, let alone how bad he was as a politician. I'm saying as a human being, this guy was awful. He lost coherency. He slipped into senility. He was able to push through at times where he wasn't sundowning, and it made him look personable because everybody knows that at the end of your life, you actually don't care about your own personal gain anymore. You don't care about your self-preservation. You just want to be the best person that you can be because you realize at the end of your life that that's all that really matters. So don't wait to the end of your life to do that. Start it now.
Yes.
Let's talk about this comment real quick. Huh? More of the story? Yeah.
Yeah.
The left will always vote for Democrat in spite of themselves. Joe voted Kamala. What are y'all's opinions? Yes or no?
Well, technically Trump's a Democrat, so that still falls in line. Joe could vote
that's
for
right.
Trump. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
voted
And you
for
can
Trump.
look at his cabinet and see it. You can literally
right.
look at his cabinet. Look who he picked first. Senate Majority Leader. Oh my God. Cocaine Mitch's replacement. Shit, you might as well hand the Senate to the Democrats. I'll tell you what, Thune is a punk. He is an Israel first punk, is what he
There it
is. Oops.
I don't care about a foreign country. I just don't. I mean, other than making fun of all the jokes, I focus on America.
Spike
And I
is
think
never coming back on your show after this.
Yes, he is. I will text him tonight. He'll be on the show in 3 weeks.
They'll be shooting off Jewish space lasers together.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yep,
It's
yep.
very possible because Spike owns the patent and the device.
Of course he does.
All right.
Of course he does.
I'm hoping you guys know this person because I don't.
Who? Oh, comment.
Free Roger Ver now.
Yes,
I'm gonna be
no.
completely honest. I don't know anything about. Until today, I've never heard this person's name. I'm actually embarrassed about this, but I'm always going to be honest with everyone. I don't. And so, who is Roger Ver, and why should he be freed? Sean, it looks like you definitely have a strong opinion on this. I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, number one, I gotta say, Grumpy Gnome is actually one of my super, super, super OG followers. Like from the very
He's
beginning.
great.
Yeah,
He's great.
yeah. He had to get a new account because
Good shout
he was
out.
a boy on X, and he had to get a new account. But yeah, Gnome is amazing. Roger Ver, well, Ver did the same thing that everybody else did that we're trying to free. He was just trying to, do the right thing and speak up for the right people. And instead, they took him away, and that was that.
Can you give us some? Just educate me if you have the knowledge.
Are we
exactly?
going to get kicked off YouTube if you educate us?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably because he's going to say something about the Jews.
No, well, maybe. But anyway, dude, it's either the feds or the Jews. That's all I'm saying. No matter what, it's feds or Jews, period.
What is your obsession with the race of the tyrants?
Why do you hate the feds so much? I'm just joking. That's a joke. It was a dumb joke, but it was a joke. It qualifies.
Yeah, we all bomb.
Roger
Just
Ver
like
actually,
Sean does on Israel.
That was pretty
Let me pull this up real quick just so I get it right, because I don't want to sound like an asshole.
Also, refrain
Roger
from
Ver was
cussing.
an investor.
Their children watch this show.
Well, look, Sean doesn't bomb on Israel. He paraglides. I don't know if that was off limits.
Call me October 7th. That'll be my new nickname, October 7th.
Yeah, or September 11th. Okay. So,
Why do you guys want to get me going? Why do you guys want to get me going? September 11th. Do you want?
Hey,
No,
Sean.
no,
Hey, Sean,
no.
do you remember,
I wanna
earlier this year when Israel tweeted out, "We will dance again"? Can you explain that tweet? I don't get that one. Is that in reference to something?
Well, I mean, they were dancing. They were dancing on the ashes of the Twin Towers in Building 7. But I mean, hey,
We're
who
not
am I?
going to do that. I made a joke.
We're destined to get
Anyway,
just kicked
back.
off.
Yeah.
An early investor in Bitcoin, Bitcoin-related startups, and early promoter of Bitcoin, and sometimes known as Bitcoin Jesus.
Oh.
He now primarily promotes Bitcoin Cash, as Ver sees it as a fulfilling intended need. And
What are his criminal charges?
Blasphemy.
no, his criminal charges were for I don't know the exact words, but playing with the banking system is what it was. And it goes back to Bitcoin. I don't know the exact words and all that stuff, but Roger Ver, they went after him because he was going against the banking system. That's a long story short.
Sounds anti-Semitic.
Why do you
I know
mind?
this doesn't apply, but that's a funny comment to put up there right now. Fair point. Okay, so let's say this. Let's circle back around here. World War III. I think we all agree that I don't think nuclear escalation is actually on the table. Maybe nuclear strikes.
I don't
But-
think so.
Well, I mean, like tactical nuclear strikes inside of
No,
Ukraine,
yeah.
like more near Kiev. I think that's probably more.
Yes.
Again, though, look, I don't know how much Russia has the balls.
But I don't think they'll
Well,
nuke Kiev
awesome.
because Putin needs Kiev. He actually needs Kiev.
Yes.
So I
Right.
don't necessarily know if he's going to nuke them. I think he might nuke some NATO countries who are trying to fucking play games.
Like who?
Well, at some point, he's got it. At some point, he has to respond or he loses the respect of the Russian people.
Yes.
Let's not forget that we're talking about government, right? All governments are evil. All of them have horrible intentions, or they wouldn't be involved in wanting to overlord the people of that country. Okay. So, but let's not forget that Russians themselves, they're probably just as adamant as we are. Like, don't nuke us, bro. But we ain't got nothing to do with this. Please stop. You know, like y'all got to stop.
Yeah.
Immediately. Okay, so I'm not sure.
But can I ask you guys something? Let me ask you guys
No,
something.
go ahead.
For real, though. Because does Putin have a legitimate beef? That's my question.
I don't think so. I
Well,
would say no.
A legitimate beef? Like, does he have justification? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he has any justification. But I could understand like an emotional beef. Yeah, I could see that with the coup that happened back in 2015. I don't know anything about this. I just hear podcasters talk about it, so don't quote me on that. But frustration with you know what? Just going back to the idea that Kamala Harris was like, we're thinking about bringing Ukraine into NATO. That would have been enough for me to get pissed. And so even if that happened, like, hey, you guys said it wasn't going to happen, and now you're talking about it, you're tiptoeing around this thing, like you're gonna. So you think you can do that to me? And so yeah, yes. I don't know if he's justified in his response.
You hit the nail on the head,
But
though.
that part would have been it.
You hit the nail on the head right there. Because for years, we're talking like probably close to a decade, Putin was like, yo, I do not want any NATO alliances bordering my borders, coming near my country's borders. Now, every country has a right to defend their borders as they see fit. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, I'm not a Putin apologist. I'm not a Putin anything, but like, he's literally doing what he said he was going to do if the United States didn't quit and NATO did not quit playing games around his borders, which includes Ukraine. The United States overthrew the CIA, overthrew the Ukrainian government in 2014. And anytime the United States does that, they put their own appointees via the CIA as political power. They do it all over. They've been doing it for decades. Check out what they're doing in Central and South America right now, or what they've already done. Not right now. Like, most of Central and South America's governments are CIA people because they've overthrown them, you know, for whatever reasons they saw fit. Really, that, you know, that's neither here nor there. But the fact that Russia and Putin was like, hey, quit coming near my borders. I don't want you guys around me. And he's within his bounds to do so, you know. And then let's not forget that Russia actually tried to get into NATO in the late 90s, early 2000s, and were laughed out of the room pretty much. They said, hey, the only caveat was, hey, we have 6,000 nukes. Can you please rush us into NATO? They said, no, kick rocks, pound sand, whatever it may be. So that even added fuel to the fire. So the guy literally said, quit playing games with my borders, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Well, they kept playing games with his borders, and he did X, Y, and Z himself. How would the United States feel if they said, hey, if you come any closer to us, we're going to level you? What do you think the United States would do? What do you think they would do?
Now, that's exactly the type of Russian propaganda that I would expect to hear from a Putin apologist.
That's a good point. You know what I think Trump should do? I think
Okay.
Trump should let, when he gets in office, he should bring NATO. He should bring Ukraine into NATO. I think he takes Ukraine, goes, you know what? All right, now that I'm in office, Ukraine, you're part of NATO then. And then immediately be like, and the US is out. And just switcheroo. Just take the US out of NATO and put Ukraine in, and then just sit back and watch what happens. Just to see.
Yeah. No.
I'm okay
Let's not
with
do that.
I
think
that sounds like a fantastic idea.
I think everything that Sean said was 100% Russian propaganda, and it's probably being paid by Russia. And so let's watch a clip of why this is probably ridiculous. Now, this is Dave Smith on Piers Morgan, and it is beautiful.
At all.
Let me go to Jillian. Let me go to Jillian.
A dupe or an asset because everything she's done the past 10 years and said has been exactly what Russia would want her to say or do. So she's either an asset or a dupe.
That's
but
the
she's
dumbest
clearly not on our
standard
side.
ever. Who cares?
If I
said Saddam Hussein doesn't have weapons of mass destruction, that might be exactly what Saddam Hussein wants me to say. That doesn't mean anything. You see, Pierce, this is the trick here. And I'm sorry, I know you want to go to Julian, but the trick is that the same way they used to say Trump-Russia collusion, they wouldn't say Donald Trump's in a conspiracy with the Russians. You see, because that's actually meets the criminal code. And then so you just say collusion because what does that even mean? They could have had a phone call. Okay, they're colluding, but that's totally legal. So when you say she's a Russian asset, you give this wink and a nod like she's a traitor.
No.
When what it means, and Pierce, you disagree with me on this topic too. But listen, the argument is that there were 1 million off-ramps to the war in Ukraine,
I know the argument,
West chose to not take any of them, and that this war could have been avoided and it could have been negotiated away. Now, the idea that if someone makes this argument, your counter to that is to say that you're a Putin asset. This is so, first off, it's just despicable and it's profoundly stupid. It makes absolutely no sense at all. But listen, at least during the original McCarthyism period, at least during the House Committee on American Activities, at least back then, there were some communists. Nobody is loyal to Vladimir Putin. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You're entitled. No, Tulsi Gabbard, of course, is entitled to her opinion as a citizen of this country. But if for 10 years your opinion is identical to Russian propaganda, we are entitled to question that. And someone like that,
you're saying nothing, and I'm entitled to make the point that that's the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
You both made your points. Let me bring it. Okay. Time out. Let's bring in Jillian. Been waiting very patiently to get back in here. I mean, Jillian.
Amazing.
Okay, so first of all, R.I.P. to Joe Walsh. That is not unfortunate. Also, in a tweet that's got doing very well for me right now, having Dave Smith body people live on air is incredible. This is R.I.P. to Chris Cuomo and R.I.P. to now Joe Walsh and many other people's. Guys, your thoughts on what he's saying, right? Like, not just the fact that I want to address really the accusations of Joe Walsh, because what mental gymnastics do you have to go to and get through in order to say that promoting world peace and anti-war is somehow pro-Putin propaganda? Or am I misconceptualizing his rhetoric over the time? Sean, you go first.
Well, I mean, it's the same difference as somebody calling somebody an anti-Semite for being against the Israel lobby. It's the same difference. But Russia.
That sounds very anti-Semitic. I don't know if you know that, Sean.
Well, apparently I'm a Putin. I'm a Putin propagandist. But no, like seriously though, like why is it that people cannot accept the fact that the United States government's intervention into what's going on over there is a reality of the Russian response? Too many people are walking away from this. You know, Scott Horton just wrote a book about this, Provoked, which I cannot wait to read. I cannot wait to read it and have him on my show. Oh my God. Scott Horton is a wealth of information on this stuff, especially when it comes to foreign policy. But how can we sit back and say, hey, just because we are somewhat, I don't want to say siding with Russia, but like, why is it that we are Putin propagandists when we say that, hey, he might have a legitimate beef on this stuff? It's the same difference. I love what Dave Smith just did. He just ruined that guy's life on air. That was great.
David?
Yeah, so the thing about the Joe Walsh is, and I've paid attention to his Twitter, and I think this is actually unfair. Like you said, just R.I.P. Joe Walsh. It's unfair to bring him on with Dave Smith. And I know what most people think, with like, oh, Joe Walsh, he's got very interesting takes, but he doesn't. He has talking points. He's the same thing in the movie Good Will Hunting. That guy who reads off like the quote unquote the book that he read. And then you have Matthew Damon be like, how about these apples? And he actually explains to him what that book was talking about because he can critically think. I'm actually getting, I'm not ever going to get tired of people who just memorize the talking point from when, oh, Tulsi Gabbard says the same thing as Russia. It's like, dude, you probably read that in a Washington Post article. And then you're just going to write that because you have some weird dislike for her. But if you put any critical thought behind that whatsoever, you know that Dave actually has a point there. And you don't even have to agree with Dave. You could just be like, yeah, that's fair and nuanced. But Joe Walsh doesn't actually spend time to think because all he has to do is read the script that he's given, and he gets whatever payment or whatever following or whatever notoriety that he's gotten all this time. He's upset. Really, what the problem is not with Tulsi, and it's not with Dave. He's upset that the world's actually looking for people who can think, and he doesn't qualify for that whatsoever. And that's his real big problem.
Yeah, he's low IQ.
Yeah,
exactly. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity to be able to formulate his own thoughts, to be able to analyze and dissect certain information, any information, I would say. Maybe he has some sort of niche department of brain power that we're unaware of. And he should probably show that.
Yeah,
right? If he has that, he should show that because he doesn't have it when it comes to politics. So, look. At the end of the day, Piers Morgan, and I don't blame Piers for this. This is just psychoanalysis of evidence that I've studied over the course of the time that I've been involved politically. To bring Joe Walsh on with Dave Smith is almost criminal.
Right?
I mean, it's borderline. Like, okay, at this point, we should probably consider fascism and shut your show down because you just let an intellectual dwarf try to go in combat with someone who's highly intelligent, highly informed, and has a great ability to deliver the information.
And the thing about Dave, it's not like everybody likes. I mean, Sean hates Dave because of his early life history in Wikipedia, but he still agrees with him. And it's what? Because Sean thinks
because Dave's a Jew.
Oh, I didn't say that. You
because,
did.
Yeah, I said it. It's because Dave's a Jew.
But Sean,
go ahead. I love Rothbard, and I love Carol Roth, and I love I live in a Jewish neighborhood.
Sean, that's the same thing as saying I've got a few black friends that makes me not a racist.
I literally live in a Jewish black neighborhood. Like I have just down the street from my house. I see them with their hats and the little curly hairs every Saturday walking the temple. I do every Saturday. So if I hated Jews so much, I would not live here. I promise.
Doesn't mean you have to throw your coffee at them. That's the problem. You don't care that you see them.
The Indians that live in my community, I help out to a great deal because they're very good people, but they bring roaches into all these houses. So
That's awesome. Sean's
Just
like,
bring
you know
them
what?
curry and they'll be fine.
I'm not anti-Semitic. I eat bagels. That's basically Sean. Anyway, yeah, I think Dave's great. You got to start watching out for him. It's surprising me that people even attempt at this point after Chris Cuomo and that wrap up, and that was rough. It's not even something I would be afraid. Not afraid. I would definitely. I don't even want to agree with Dave. I feel like I'd be wrong in that. That's how hard. I don't want to get into an agreement with him on a podcast. Me and him agreeing together because I still feel like I was wrong in that. That's how smart he is. And so, and if I did disagree with him, I'd instantly be an anti-Semite. So I can't do that.
Just leave all the anti-Semite stuff up to me. Apparently, I hate Jews, so don't worry about it.
We're all joking, folks. Calm down. It's all jokes.
We got jokes. I can tell you some really tasteless jokes if you want, but we'll probably get kicked off YouTube because YouTube's gay and retarded.
Well, there's that R word again.
Read or try. Sean should be protected at all costs. Thank you, Noam. Thank you.
And we can't protect him if he keeps trying to destroy podcasts with legitimate viewership. So, Sean, your thoughts.
My thoughts on which, like the thoughts on what
the Dave and Joe Walsh clip.
Dave murdered him, dude. There was a homicide on that show, and somebody needs to clean up that body. Like that's just what it is. Like Walsh was surprisingly enough destroyed. Not really surprisingly enough. Please feel my sarcasm here. Dave's very much on point on a lot of stuff. Dave's very much on point when it comes to foreign policy, especially Israel. But anyways, I digress. But so Scott Horton. But because all Dave's foreign policy stuff gets spoon-fed to him from Scott Horton. Let's be honest here. Hello, doggy. I hear a dog.
Yeah, I got a dog going crazy. Hold on.
No, it's all good. Do you disagree with Scott Horton's analysis?
No, I think Scott Horton is very much on point when it comes to literally everything. Scott is a gem in the liberty movement. He doesn't get enough credit for his work. He literally wrote the best book on foreign policy of all time, being Enough Already. I haven't read Provoked yet. That will probably supersede that. I look forward to reading that and actually having Scott on my show to talk about it because Scott is amazing. But like, why do we got to tiptoe around like everything? We got to tiptoe around what they're saying. We got to tiptoe around what they're saying. Why do we have to tiptoe around it? Do we believe in free speech or not? That's the big question.
Well, because I'll answer that easily. Because if you want your voice to be heard, then you have to dance. There's just it's not about compromising. It literally is a compromise, of course, but it's not about a lack of, self-preservation or integrity. It's about, do you want your message to be heard? And if so, then you have to dance around the rules that are placed in the TOS in front of you on each platform, the terms of service. And I've been doing this. I started this because of COVID, and I've managed to maintain all of it, even in spite of the demonstrable, horrible situations that have been going on since the COVID regime. Right? So, we got messed up here. I'm a rabid fan of making sure that we deliver the truth and we do it with integrity. In Jesus' name, first and foremost. I don't think there's a way that you can succeed in actually impacting even one soul without honesty and integrity. But we also have to dance. We just have to. You know,
But if there's no truth is treason and the empire lies, as Ron Paul would say. Like,
yeah, but
let's put it this way: you were on my show last Friday. That show got taken down from YouTube from something that you could literally find on Google anywhere. You can find it. We're talking Google. This isn't like going outside of the realm and finding Free Spoke and whatever other search engines are out there in the world. This was Google, who is owned by the left. I found information on Google, who's owned by the left, repeated that information. I got my show taken down off YouTube.
Wait, did you get your whole show or just an episode?
Just the episode.
Well, the whole episode.
Oh, okay. It's like, bro.
For now, there's been multiple. They're coming after me eventually. But like, why should we sugarcoat stuff? We aren't Willy Wonka here. We're not Willy Wonka. Like, we're not.
You know who Willy Wonka? Have you checked his early life on Wikipedia? No, I'm just playing. The thing about
I checked his Twitter account, and he was very anti-Semitic. So now that
okay, so he's on the right side. So we the thing about, and this is the problem with YouTube, and it's the problem with all these platforms, except for maybe X, is the way I look at it is I want to speak truth is whatever parameters I can. So I look at YouTube like a sandbox, like a playground, and every playground has its own set of rules. And so if you're going to do, you got to do it slyly, which is unfortunate. But if we got to play in a playground, we got to participate in whatever rules those are. The only thing I will not do is I will not lie. I won't lie on it, even if I can't tell the truth. It's that Jordan Peterson thing. Like, if you can't tell the truth, at least don't lie and clean up your room. And so that's the best way I can go about that. I don't know. I just jumped back in. Those are my thoughts.
No, that's great. I completely agree. I do this. I follow the same set of standards. I am not going to lie. I'm absolutely going to tell you the truth, but I'm going to make sure that I do it in a manner to where I can actually keep talking to you, and I'm not completely crushed, or even deplatformed. I guess that would be completely crushed, be deplatformed. But that happens.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just going to keep. So there's a friend of mine. We talk about this, the exaggeration. He goes off. He's when he communicates, you think Sean is hardcore with this anti-Semitic rhetoric. He'll go the distance, but what he says is he goes the distance so we can play within parameters of being able to tell the truth. So he'll actually be the brave person. He'll get his account clipped. He'll get his YouTube shut down. In the efforts to hopefully steer the Overton window towards free speech. And he says a lot of people take the front lines. It takes a certain amount of bravery to be the one who has to hold a grenade or jump on it for the rest of us to be able to do that. But he sees that as an Overton. So Sean, all I'm saying is, Sean, you're doing the Lord's work. Well, maybe not the Lord's work, but close to the Lord's work.
I'm honest and I'm unmerciful. I don't care when it comes to talking about the state. Like, I will literally call out the state for what they are, which is a blood-sucking parasite who is out to take your health, wealth, and property.
It's true.
We see it every day. Now, whether who's pulling the strings here and there, well, I'm not bashful and I'm not afraid to say it. Like, we know who's running the show, and it's not the United States government. It's not even close to being the United States government.
Yes, it is.
No, it's the central bank.
Yes, it is.
The central banks run all of it. They are the ones who control the monetary system.
Who controls the central bank?
Zionist.
No.
Noel?
What specific entity? By the way, I'm a Zionist, so I think that people get their definitions messed up. Right? That's not an intellectual definition. A Zionist is just someone that believes that Israel should have their own state, which is biblical. That's what Zionist, quote unquote, Zionist has turned into. And 1000%, yes, Israel is the Holy Land for the Jews. This is not.
Does the Bible say it should have its own state or its own land?
Holy Land.
But is that a state?
We define it as a state.
They have a right to have a state?
Check this out.
The word state The word state wasn't in the Bible.
Okay. I'm just picking with you. I'm just messing with
No,
you.
you're good. You're good. You're good. And
No,
so,
seriously though, check this out. Check this out.
here we go.
The Federal Reserve.
I left and he goes down this rabbit trail again.
No, because
That's what the answer I was looking for. The Federal Reserve. I said, who controls the central banking? The Federal Reserve. Because I said that the United States controls all this, not Israel. That's a fact. The United States controls all this.
then why
Not
do they
Israel,
take
not-
back money then? If they control it, why do they take it back money?
Because people like money.
Boom. There it is.
Which in turn gets Israel everything they want, every single thing they want on paper with United States backing within
Yeah,
tax
they have a lot of
dollars
money.
and soldiers.
They pay money. Not nearly as much as Big Pharma, which is centered right here. We are the
Do
central
you know that it's illegal
area
to
of
take bribe
control.
money from other countries?
Really?
Yeah. It is illegal to take, it is illegal for the United States government to take bribes from other countries.
Sean, it's only illegal if you get caught. And if you get
Right.
caught,
They
you
get
just
caught
change.
every day. Look at APAC.
Yeah, but then you
Look at
just change the
APAC
rules.
every
'cause you get
day.
to- you
They
get to make
literally-
rules.
Why? But why do they have a strong arm on the United States government? Because they have blackmail on the United States government that goes all the way back to Jeffrey Epstein.
I was about to say, there's an island for that, isn't there not?
Yes.
Yeah. So does
Now,
the
please,
Rockefellers.
No, seriously
so
though.
do all of Big
Seriously.
Oil, Big Pharma.
William P.G. Harding, second chair of the Federal Reserve, Jewish.
Oh no, we're
Paul
doing
Walker,
No, we're not doing this. We're not
this. This
doing
is
this.
great.
We're
No,
not
keep
doing
going.
this.
Keep going. Keep
No,
going.
seriously.
No.
Seriously, I have a whole list of people. Pretty much all the vice chairs or the chair of the Federal Reserve or the central banking system are Jewish. Please tell me where I'm wrong.
Because you're placing the priority on somebody's race and religion. And
Why?
not
Why do foreign entities have any?
why do you?
in our government, whether it be China, Israel, or anyone else? Why? Why are we taking money from people who do not have our best interests at heart? Are we the United States of America? Are
Because
we
people are corrupt and they want money and power. It doesn't matter if they're Jewish or Chinese or American. They're human beings created.
But it's a certain,
Then we're all wildly susceptible to corruption. You flash money and titties in our face, we're going for it.
I love this. This is a great conversation. I'm letting you guys roll. This is awesome.
Well, no, because like I'm tired of it. I'm tired of my tax money. $3.8 billion for decades, up to maybe even $3.8 billion up to $5 billion, depending on which year, for decades, go to Israel. On top of military equipment, which they are testing out for us, by the way. So you're telling me by the time they go to war with Hamas, you know, the great Hamas that everybody's supposed to be afraid of, who literally chased Israel out of their land in 2014 in Gaza.
Whose land? Whose land?
Israel launched a ground attack against Hamas in 2014, and they were chased the hell out of there. Fact.
But have you ever considered the thought that they want to annihilate? They're just reincarnate of the worst Nazis in history. And they're literally not shy about the fact that they will eliminate every Jewish person on earth.
They can't be Nazis.
Netanyahu's not a Nazi.
They got too much of a tan.
Right now. Netanyahu is not a Nazi who is
I
literally.
didn't say Netanyahu. I was talking about the Palestinians.
I'm just saying, pot, meat, kettle, right? If they're Nazis, but then these people are literally blowing up civilians. Literally, Israel leveled Lebanon. They leveled Gaza. I'm not calling it a genocide, but they are leveling innocent civilians, whether it be
I still got sucked into it.
Yeah.
I just want to admit, I still got sucked into it. That's my bad, y'all.
That's fine.
But
look, I don't have a take on this. I'm one of those people. I can't point to Israel or Palestine on a map, so I'm automatically disqualified from the conversation. And the only reason I can't point to it on a map, because when I look at a map, the only country I care about is the U.S. because that's the one I'm.
That's right.
Yes, America only. Please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. America only. No more tax dollars to Israel. No more tax dollars to Ukraine. No more soldiers anywhere. America only right now. That's the point. I don't care. If Israel wants to fight the fucking Hamas, knock yourselves out. I don't care. Do your thing, dude. Not with my peers, not with my tax money. Same
Did you
thing.
say peers? Did you say not with my peers?
Yeah.
Like Piers Morgan? No,
like the piers you fish off of? Because that's what I was thinking of.
No, I'm very passionate about this stuff, though. Like, I don't know too many people who are more
okay
than I am.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question real quick, Sean, and I know you have a good answer for it, but real quick, just please, everybody, remember in the chat and on live that we try to make this a family show and that there are kids listening.
My bad.
Kids listening?
I'm sorry for cursing.
Wait, why are kids listening? That's terrible.
I'll tell you why. Because we live in a communist culture, not a communist economic apparatus yet, but a communist culture in which that you have to vet the information that's being poured into your children because everything is politicized now. Everything is politicized. Look, we're talking about RFK Jr. being HHS and him wanting to eliminate the false products that are in the Fruit Loops that your kids eat. Okay? The poison that is literally put into your children's food, it's politicized now.
Yeah.
Everything's politicized.
So I have a big problem with RFK. You guys want to hear, especially here's
let's hear it.
All right, so I don't think libertarians should like RFK. You guys are fairly libertarians, and I'll give you my reason why. I think libertarians should be very skeptical of RFK, and it comes down to one thing, and I'm going to do my best to not get you kicked off YouTube. RFK wants to take a look at the vaccines, right? And he's been known to be a conspiracy theorist because he thinks that there might be, or there may or may not be, a jab that causes a particular thing with children. What am I talking about?
No, so what RFK Jr. is? No, what I want to
go ahead.
give you a framework of how to help you work this, right? RFK Jr. has some significant intellectual and scientific and philosophical arguments against the vaccine schedule, specifically for children, not for certain vaccines, right? Like, look, I'm very skeptical since COVID of what is or isn't a vaccine, or if it can and will or potentially help or cause harm. I'm not sure on this information. I'm not a virologist. I've done a lot of research, even as a medical professional. However, I do think it's a solid point on us investigating and evaluating the children vaccine schedule.
Gotcha.
Because it is multiplied rapidly since the 80s. Go ahead.
Well,
sorry.
I think that, the conspiracy theory that I heard was that RFK thought certain medicines that were given to children at a young age would cause certain things like autism, right? So hear me out. So RFK wants to go in and evaluate these vaccines and maybe not prescribe them to kids. So maybe autism wouldn't actually be a big thing. Now, if that happens in 20 years, we won't even have a libertarian party because RFK would have eradicated autism, thus no libertarians ever. So I think RFK is actually coming for the libertarians.
Sir.
Right? If you connect all the dots, they form like a star. And then if you put all the stars together, RFK is trying to eradicate the libertarians by taking away vaccines. That was it. That was a long-winded joke. That's all.
That was awesome. I
put a lot of thought into that. I'm glad somebody enjoyed it.
You clearly did not.
RFK.
I wish Americans would put a lot more thought into how Jews run the world, quote unquote, apparently. But no, we're not going to get that either.
Well, I mean, I tried to point out all the vice chairs and chairs of the Federal Reserve since the beginning of the Federal Reserve, and a vast majority of them are quote unquote them. But
there you go.
All right, going
It's
back
an
to
easy
Chris
layup, Patrick.
Foster's comment. That's okay, David. Just follow the money and you'll find it. Bro, I haven't found any money yet. I've been trying to follow the money. Ain't nobody paying me. No one's dropping bags in my mailbox.
I'm just wondering if all that money that
can't find it.
I'm just wondering if all this money that they keep talking about is just literally hidden in the tunnels that the Jews created in New York.
That's it. That's where they're at.
They're under the Federal Reserve. Actually, that's where they are.
There's probably tunnels. There's probably tunnels.
Were the Jews digging tunnels under the Federal Reserve too? And we just don't know about it.
Uh-oh.
Now we're on to something.
Ooh.
That's a good idea.
Ask the rabbi guy that's always in trouble on X. He would know. I can't remember his name.
Or just ask Spike. He'll know.
Well, I mean, he has the code and the device to the Jewish space lasers.
Yes, he's probably got connections to those tunnels.
Chris says he can explain the tunnels.
Ooh, please do, please. I want to know.
He's too scared to come on live. And where's Legacy Zach at?
Yeah, where is Zach Attack? Zach Attack would actually agree with me on all the Jew stuff. He would. And he's
all right. So
I didn't say I disagreed with you.
Noel calls it my Israel derangement syndrome, which literally almost peed my pants when he said that to me. That was so fun.
The Israel derangement syndrome is just as bad.
I did spit my coffee out,
nice.
just so you know. And my wife was like, what's that all about? I'm like, apparently I have Israel derangement syndrome. And then she started cracking up.
You absolutely do.
And I was like, well,
You absolutely do. Yeah, it's just it's gotten to a point to where it's worse now than the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about the idea of there's a lot of people with Israel derangement syndrome, and there's a lot of people with Trump derangement syndrome. Both go both ways. And
I think they go hand in hand, considering his cabinet picks, but hey, whatever.
They can't go hand in hand because you have oppos that subscribe to the same Israel derangement IDS as they do TDS. And then you have the same supporters of Trump that are littered with TDS, and they're also polluted with IDS, meaning like you can't criticize. So we've got your argument, which is very valid. Why are we doing this? These people are doing horrible things, and their government specifically. That's a very real argument.
I wish people would quit telling me I'm an anti-Semite, because there's a big difference between being against the Israel lobby and the IDS. Or no, that's not the IDS. The IDF, I should say.
IDF, Israel Defense Force.
There's a big difference between being against that and being against the Jewish people. There really is.
Oh, of course.
I'm just glad you don't have Israel Down syndrome. That would be the worst one.
Have you seen my baseball?
Frank and Beans.
Frank and Beans.
IDF.
We're really trying to get you kicked off this year too.
IDS, also similar to inflammatory bowel syndrome, IBS.
See, here's the thing. This is why I like AIPAC. Can we go into why I like AIPAC?
Oh boy,
go for it.
Because look, it's all about getting money back into the U.S. And if Israel's giving our politicians money, it's just adding more income. It's adding to the pot of moving around. If we're going to print money, why don't we just have Israel bring their money over here and dump it in? It'll bring down inflation. So the more Israel pays our politicians, the more money is in the U.S. circling around, and it helps everybody out. High tide raises all ships. But who owned the ships? Sean, who owned the ships?
It's a satire right now. You have to be saying satire right now. There's no way you believe that, what you just said.
You see how that sarcasm works?
I hope so.
YouTube loves me. They're like, this guy's great. Keep him on.
YouTube does not like me at all.
Anyway, that was it. I was just making a joke.
That was a very good joke, but it gave me a coronary almost. I'm just saying.
I know, you really thought I was being serious.
There he is.
There he is. Big Pharma funds our politicians at a higher rate than APAC. Yep.
Yeah.
I proved that on the show.
APAC doesn't have any commercials during the Super Bowl. Big Pharma does. They're the ones I'd be more worried about. But who owns Big Pharma, Zach?
Commercials. Who runs the commercials?
Who owns the Big Pharma and the media?
Yeah, who owns all that? Wait, who owns that? Just let's get there for a minute.
Hold on. Who pays for the commercials, the banks, of Big Pharma to be on media? Who owns all three of these?
Who owns the media?
So you're saying
who owns the media? I promise.
What you're suggesting here is that people in general just like money.
That's true.
Yes. We talked about this earlier, Noel. Everybody has a price. Everyone. Like literally everyone has a price. So like, you know, when you get these big lobbyists involved, which, you know, might I add, like, hey, it's kind of illegal to take, you know, for governments to take bribes from other governments. I'm just saying, which is lobbyists, you know, which all lobbies are bribes. Honestly, let's be real. All lobbies are bribes, whether it be from APAC, whether it be from Big Pharma, oil, you know, whoever it may be, the military industrial complex, defense contractors, they're all lobbyists. They're all giving money to our government. But the big difference is we're not supposed to take bribes from other countries, which happens constantly. And it's not just Israel. You know, let me put my IDS aside for a minute. China, you guys wouldn't believe how much play China has within our government, especially when it comes to the GOP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely
China.
ridiculous. And there's some people out of Arkansas who are literally going after their GOP members, who are literally going after their own right now, who are backed by the CCP. They're literally trying to burn down the GOP exclusively.
Obviously it was a bit hyperbolic. Not everybody doesn't have a price. Like that's not technically, but politicians definitely do. I mean, I can think of Thomas Massey. Obviously, he doesn't have a price.
He's getting money from somebody, dog.
You think he's getting money from? Well, here's the problem: if everybody has,
of course he is. He has.
Well, he has to pay bills, so he's getting money from taxpayers, and probably all the chicken coops that he makes. Probably selling those on eBay.
And raw milk and all that stuff.
And raw milk. So he's making money from the raw milk lobby. He's probably getting money. He's probably getting money from the raw milk lobby, the cow lobby.
He can get farmer money. If he's getting a farmer lobby, amen. I'll take the farmer lobby, honestly.
Yeah.
China outspends the Israel lobby like 10-1. Chris, let me tell you something, brother. There was literal recalls involved in Wisconsin. I can't remember his first name. His last name is Voss. They're recalling him because he was so far deep into the CCP that like Colonel Conrad Reynolds went after him.
How deep with the CCP?
Like probably deep enough to being your mom.
I was going to make a Fang joke. I set you up for that one.
No, but seriously, between China and Israel, these people are bought and paid for. They get whatever they want. This is why there's foreign countries buying land in the United States. Yeah.
Sean, this is exactly why I have hammered you on your show and mine and personally in private that you have IDS.
Well, no, he's talking about China.
Okay, hear me out. This is why you have Israel derangement syndrome, because you are self-admitting right now that China just as much or more has influence over our economic structure, but everything you talk about revolves around the Jews. It revolves around Israel. This is what I'm saying. Like, you're proving my point that you're very intelligent. You're very smart. Recognize it for what it is. Don't zero in like the leftists, right? Where they have their Trump debate. Everything aspect of their lives revolves around Donald Trump. No, and everything that happens with America and our economic system and our global disaster, let's be honest.
Because China doesn't own the media. China does not own the banking system. China does not own the music industry. Let's be honest. He who controls the monetary system controls the world. He who controls the media controls the mind. China does not own the central banking system. China does not own the media. It's Israel. They are the ones. Like, seriously, let's be honest here. Who runs the media?
Israel has 6 million people in Israel.
We are the media now.
And we just saw that through the recent. We talked about this on the phone call on our ride home from work today.
I'm pretty sure Noel is paid by Israel. No, you're saying that.
Man, I wish.
Noel would have a huge studio by now and a whole team. Let's be real here.
I would sell out immediately if Israel.
Noel, you'd have to change the name to Off the Daily Wire.
Oh,
that's good. That's good.
But no, that's the big
at some point you need to subscribe to something that says Off the Daily Hair Supply, because my beard, even shorter than yours, is way better than yours.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you. Well, I guess at this point, both of you
leave.
But I was talking to you.
Me.
I thought you were talking about hair, and I'm like, look, y'all, I ain't got.
Put the hat back on. Put the hat back on.
Point proven.
You guys will go blind. But this is my point, though, when it comes to Israel. Like, they own the media, they own the music industry. Who does?
The United States.
Who owns the media?
The United States.
No.
Yes.
Go look at anybody who's in media right now and look at their last name. I promise you. I swear to God.
Let me explain something. We own Israel, not the other way around.
Then why do they
own us? Because we.
Oh man! Because look, a hooker pays the pimp. The hooker pays the pimp.
There you go. That's right. Exactly right. The fact of the matter is that we, and that was accurate though, we own them through market value. They get to access our markets because we allow them to.
Then why is there every Steen and Berg and, Cohen or whatever, maybe Spike, but you know what I mean? Why is it that everybody who is in media right now is Jewish? Who runs it? Well, please, I need
because they're good business persons. They're disciplined with their money. They're disciplined with their lifestyle, because that's the lifestyle and the religion that they live.
And they're
good at a proper investment for us with the actual monetary value to invest in people that are economically consistent and disciplined.
And they're good at sniffing out good opportunities.
Well, like even back in the day, like think about it, early gangster rap, like, dude, Ice Cube called out Eazy-E. I never had dinner with the president.
We were already in control of the global economy.
All right, I'm actually confused now too. I'm totally confused.
We're going back now. If you're gonna reference my in control of the global economy reference, you got to go back to World War II when we started investing in the military industrial complex. Then we started seeing that during World War II, we ramped up our innovation and our military advancement. It did wonders for the world economy, except for those that opposed us. And it did wonders for our economy. Same thing. And then we piped down that military industrial complex because in our nature, in our constitution, we're not supposed to have a standing army. It's supposed to be piped down to a minimal event. It was just supposed to be very, very naval oriented military. And then during the Korean War and then the Vietnam War showed us that there's no way to advance our military objectives. There's no way to deal with certain demographics of people, whether we agree with their lifestyle or not, they stopped de-escalating the advancement of the military industrial complex, which brings me back to Dwight D. Eisenhower, that infamous speech of you got to beware of the military industrial complex. Now bring Israel into the fold. They became a country prophetically, whether you believe it to be self-prophetic or just prophetic, they become a nation again. And that happened, which is biblical prophecy. And then at that time, which was the 1950s, we were still a very much Bible-oriented economic system, right? That layer, not layer, a multi-layer of just ecosystem of growth that developed from that.
If the United States,
Industrial Revolution.
I'm so lost. I hate
if
to
the
tell you
United
guys
States,
How?
I zoned out halfway through. It's like 30 minutes ago. No, I'm just playing. Keep going. Sorry, Sean. I'll give you my take on all this. I'll give you my actual, honest, non-joking side take.
I haven't finished yet. So what graduated from that, what promulgated from that experiment was God in what we thought as a government, and which was already corrupt, but still had some elements of Judeo-Christian values, was that we must protect Israel because that is our God-given mandate. I'm not going to argue with that. We're not going to go into it, but I would argue on the merits of how that operates, right? But I am, by all definitions of 2024, Zionist. Israel, biblically, by the God that created the universe, said this speck of land is their holy land, period.
Right,
Do
can I
I
go?
agree with what the Israel government is doing? No. To a large degree. No. But that is the Holy Land, and that is absolutely their land of claim, which in 2024 makes me a Zionist.
It's true. I still think you're getting. Does it make you paid? Are you getting those bags? No, I'm just playing. All right, so here's my take, Sean. I'll back you up on this one. I think in 2024, if you haven't noticed the early life section of Wikipedia and who owns everything, I think you're just not paying attention enough. It's too easy to not notice. I mean, it's too easy to not notice. So if you're a noticer out there and you followed the money, you're like, well, it sure does seem kind of odd that all this one particular group that's supposed to be a small percentage seems to be at the very top of the scale in every industry. Now, what I will say, maybe that's culturally, maybe that is, well, like Noel says, maybe they're just blessed by God. That could totally be a concept. And I'm totally down with that. Maybe this small group of people on the earth have been downstricken by the rest of the world, but also have the favor of God upon them. I'm cool with that as well. But I'm going to think you back this up because you always point out the Israel thing versus the actual ethnic group of people. Like we have Dave Smith and Spike Cohen. They obviously don't run the media. Well, Dave Smith might. He's stacking bodies, so he will soon. But not every person who belongs to that demographic is obviously at the top. There are some people that aren't, but it does seem to be like kind of weird that all this group is. So you could chalk it up to multiple things. Either they stranglehold everybody out and they're evil, but then you can't say the entire people are evil. You say these particular people who happen to be at the top are evil. And the Matthew 20 rule is, and same thing as the Pareto principle. Those who have some will get more, and those who have very little will lose it all. That's that Matthew 20 principle. And so I agree with you on some aspects. It just sure does seem weird that all these people seem to own everything. But what I have a hard time disconnecting is like, well, even if that is true, and there's a cabal of like 7 of them that seem to own everything, that's fine, but that's definitely not the entire people. Now on I'm just spewing out everything. Now on the Holy Land part, maybe God made a covenant, sure. with the Holy Land, the Israel people. But I've read the end of the book. I know how this turns out, and it doesn't actually turn out well. And I think it's hard to not convince or not. I think there's a theological concept between the two different covenants God made. And as a Christian, I understand that the Holy Land has a purpose in the larger story of it. But I also think I don't actually hold Israel sacred to me, even though I read the book and I'm a Christian. And it goes back to the woman at the well, real quick. God goes to the woman. She's like, well, you're not supposed to talk to me. I'm not like you. I'm not a Jew. And he says, well, there will come a day when you'll neither worship on this mountain or that mountain. And it doesn't matter because you worship in spirit and truth. So as a Christian, I don't care what happens in Israel because God made a covenant, a new covenant that I think upholds more, where there's no Greek, no Jew, no Gentile, no master, no slave under Christ. And so that concept where, like, as a Christian, do I need to defend Israel? No, because there is no Jew, no Greek, no Gentile, no slave.
Yes.
But if
Yes,
they,
you should.
I mean, we can have that argument, but the scriptures are pretty. We're already on 1:20. I don't know if you want to go for the next 6 hours.
Hour and 20. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. I don't know about that time, but I will say God created a covenant. All right, Noel, did God create a covenant with the Jewish people? Did he fulfill that covenant or no?
Did he fulfill the covenant of him being?
Did God fulfill the covenant with the Jewish people? Either he didn't, or he didn't, and he just made a new one with the rest of the world, or he fulfilled the covenant in the sacrificial lamb of Jesus Christ, and thus birthed a new covenant. So there is either the old covenant or the Old Testament, or there's a new covenant. Now, which one are we in, or are they both existing simultaneously?
They're both existing simultaneously, because you are what you're doing is creating a construct of a physical and supernatural God relatable to your abstract idea, which is resolved directly to a human being's ability to understand the construct of who God is. And who he is beyond the supernatural, beyond creation, beyond physical nature. And we have to live in this time structure of apparatus that we actually discovered. It wasn't constructed. It was discovered due to God. This time apparatus of day, night, week, month, year, all that is discovered, not created. So what you're actually implying is that God should be subjected to our realm of, humanism.
Well, I don't necessarily think that. I think it was pretty. I'm not saying that we get to control how God declares his covenants. I'm just looking at the scripture and being like, well, it seems like these are the two. So here's another way we can flip it around. So in the scriptures, it talks about Gentiles being grafted into the vine of Israel with this thing. Paul talks about this specifically, where we are grafted into the family. We are adopted into the children of God with the Jews, right? Even you could take that point. But if that's true,
that's right.
If that's true, then I have just as much claim over the Holy Land as a Jewish person does. Doesn't that make more sense?
Make more sense than what?
Then there being two different covenants. If we're grafted into the vine with the Jews,
that's the one covenant.
Okay, so we're still dealing with two covenants.
Hebrews tells you that.
Right?
Okay,
so God has a plan. Oh, I guess I'm asking you a question. God has a plan for the Jews, and then God has a plan for the Jews that accepted Christ and the Christians. Okay, so God has one plan for what? All humanity?
Yes.
Okay, so in that case, there would only be one covenant, not two different ones.
No.
Okay, maybe
those are not mutually exclusive.
I have to go back and reread the book. This book club is. I'm not doing the
read
best
Hebrews. Read Hebrews, which is an unverified author, which we all believe to be the Apostle Paul.
Well, who do you think who was he writing when he wrote Hebrews? Who was he writing to?
The Hebrews.
The Jews.
Yes.
Yeah, but the Messianic Jews, the ones who believed in Christ.
No.
So Hebrews, the book of Hebrews wasn't written
To Messianic Jews?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But what
It was
about
written
this?
to
What
all
about this?
Jews.
Let me interrupt right now because I'm going to read this real
Here we
quick.
go again with the AIPAC thing. Who is AIPAC giving
No,
money now?
it's not about AIPAC right now. I know your works, tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and they are not, but are synagogue of Satan, Revelation 2:9.
The synagogue of Satan. Love it.
Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie indeed. I will make them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Revelation 3:9. Revelation is the final book. It's the final chapter. We are living Revelation right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are living Revelation in real time. We are at the end of days. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry for the black pill. I really hope you guys get close with Jesus Christ, honestly, because that's your red pill. I'm serious. It doesn't matter what we do on this earth. None of this matters. We can argue about AIPAC. We can argue about Russia. We can argue about all
Yeah, hold on.
Zach just said.
I gotta stop you. When you say nothing on this earth matters, nothing that we do, that's
nothing that is worldly matters. Nothing that is worldly matters. Period.
Objectively false.
Jesus says none of this matters as long as we abide by him and try.
No, he said what he said was making those things the priorities won't matter. But every life that you recruit into the kingdom of heaven in Jesus' name, in which that we will say, I want the kingdom of Jesus Christ, God the Father and the Holy Spirit to activate in our lives and be just as representative as in heaven as it is on earth. You're never going to convince me of your words right there, because it's not true.
And he's getting
The
paid.
truth is that everything that you do on this earth reflects what you do in heaven, and we should be praying and doing everything that we can to bring the kingdom of heaven to this atmosphere just as much as God in his kingdom has already implemented. Period.
Well, I mean, I do understand that 100%. But we have to like understand that also this world, the world that is given to us is kind of a joke. We are supposed to not accept the world. We're supposed to
never accept this.
I mean, this goes from the pastor that I watch every week, on Sundays, man. This worldly idealism does not matter when it comes to the kingdom of Christ. This is all satire, really, in theory. Like we live in a satire world. Unless you have given your life to Christ to understand the difference between the satire and what is reality. Like the world, the worldly governments, the world of media, the world of power has nothing. Like I really believe there's no king but Christ. I will not bend a knee to any government. I will
Sorry, that's anti-Semitic. Sorry.
Well, what else is new? I guess I'm the anti-Semite of the crew. But no, there's no, I will not bend a knee to a president. I will not bend a knee to a Senate or a Congress or anyone who tries to fill my mind and steal my mind and my thoughts away from Christ, which is exactly what government does. Hey, it's okay to trans your kids. Go cut off your dick. It's going to be fine. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to do, this, that, or the other. According to the Bible, it's not. But the world's telling you you have to accept this to be able to play in the sandbox. This is what I'm getting at.
It's true. It's true.
This is exactly what I'm getting at. The worldly, we'll call it worldly wisdom, quote unquote, but it's far from wisdom. The worldly wisdom is a satire, nonsense garbage compared to the biblical wisdom. I'm not going to bow down to Trump. I'm not going to bow down to any of his regime people. I will not bow down to any Democrat. I will not bow down to any government, period. I will bend a knee and bow down to Christ every single day and pray my brains out. That's what I'm going to do, because there is no king but Christ. This stuff,
Amen.
like all this stuff we're talking about right now, really in theory doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Well, I yes and no. I'm going to agree to agree. That's what I'm going to do. Legacy Zach said statism is Satanism. That's an interesting
How can you guys see the chat? I don't see nothing.
Oh, well, privilege, white privilege. White privilege.
Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong part now.
There you go.
Boy. Joke's on Sean because Jesus was a
really
Jew.
gotta figure that
I
out.
was waiting for it. Oh, I'm so glad you read that out loud. That's amazing.
I wish
Absolutely.
Jesus was controlling the media and the music industry. And
He is now.
I really
Beyond
do.
the
I
media.
really wish he was controlling all of that. I do. Honestly.
My gosh, you sound like Peter now.
Saul, Paul, Peter,
No,
Mark,
Peter.
Mark, Luke.
I think, here's my take. I think I agree with both of you guys on both premises. I don't think we disagreed at all. It was definitely, yeah, I think everything everyone said was pretty good. How's that for controversial?
Controversy.
I like the fact that we had topics and it all went right back to one topic, which was Jesus. Well, of course, Jesus is a Jew. So, of course, it was the Jews because Jesus was one. So we ended up all the way back down to the important topic, which is Jesus. At the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you except for that guy.
Amen.
And so I think we landed it. I think we landed it pretty well. Now, if they own everything, who owns your soul?
Jesus Christ does.
Exactly. So they got nothing. Did you lose your life to gain
Oh,
it?
go figure. A Jew owns my soul. Oh my
God. Finally, we
go
did
figure.
it. We did it. We did it. He says Noel has already checked out scrolling TikTok.
No, we need to have these conversations. They need to be out in the open. No, seriously though. Like whether we agree or we don't agree or whatever, agree to disagree, whatever it may be, like conversations need to be had.
Well,
We need to stop tiptoeing around certain things. Like I'm very open about what I feel when it comes to the Israel lobby. But I'm also very open about how I feel about Big Pharma. Like anybody who pays attention to my Twitter, I know I've been going, or X, whatever you want to call it. I know I've been going really hard against the Israel lobby, but I have reasons for that. Because Donald Trump is literally picking the biggest Israel first neocons that he could find outside of like a handful of people. I'm not on board with that. I can't be.
Why not? Why can't you be on board with that?
Because I'm an America only guy. That's the only reason I have. I'm America only. No more. We are a nation that is $36 trillion in debt and counting, by the way. And Donald Trump is not going to fix that whatsoever. Let's just be real here.
I agree. So that's my point, actually, Sean. That's exactly where that's why I said, even on my podcast, Pardonable Live, shameless plug there. I said the same thing. I got what I wanted out of a Trump win, which was Trump winning. It was a giant middle finger to the mainstream and the news and all that. I enjoy that. It made every lefty sad. And I'm cool with that because they should be sad for a time. And so I think that's great. But all the Israel lobby picks and the picks that you got, none of that surprises me, but also doesn't disappoint me at all. Again, my standard for what I wanted out of Trump was so low that even the Doge thing, that raised it up. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting something extra. Not only am I getting Trump's middle finger, I'm getting Elon and Vivek. Let's go. And so when you set your standards and expectations out, because we all know just follow the money. Look at the early life section. Things are gonna. If you notice too much, here's my problem with noticers. Once you start noticing, then everything starts to be noticeable. And then you start to miss all the good stuff. Because now you're getting all mad. Like, well, not you personally, but all my libertarian friends looking at this being like, oh, we're going to have World War III. Well, maybe not. Maybe we don't. Maybe we have no new wars like we got the first time we got Trump. It's not going to be great. He's still going to bomb people and assassinate people and try to regime change. But maybe we don't get any major hardcore wars. So I think at the end of the day, there's probably going to be some Israel lobbyists in there with their hands in Donald old Trumpy boy's pocket. They're most likely going to be there. But maybe we get something good out of it at the end, like Doge. And if we only get Doge, then it was a win. It was a win-win all around. And that's my take.
I dig
It's,
it.
All right,
it's not a good one, but it is a take.
No, I actually agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's double back to what's happened in the media recently. And here's a clip of Chris Cuomo after getting absolutely destroyed by Dave Smith. And then after that, he does this. Incredible. It's going to be on the phone.
The idea that the guys that you see as just a level of talent, you're going to have better talent enter the space. Instead of like Dave Smith, who's like a second, third tier comedian, you'll have Louis C.K. You'll have Sebastian Maniscalco. You'll have Stephen A. Smith. You'll have Kevin Hart. You'll have A-level talent that wants to enter the space and start owning these constituencies. You know, Benny Johnson, Ben Shapiro. This is not A-level talent.
This is a breaking emergency nuclear war alert.
Oh,
Okay.
I heard Alex Jones. Wait a minute. Leave Alex Jones in here. That's my dog right there. That crazy
Alex,
oh my.
Alex Jones coming in at the end there. My bad. That's great. So your thoughts on what they have to say there.
Can I go first on this one?
Yeah.
Chrissy Cuomo, man, I was looking forward to his story arc. He miserably failed when he went with Dave Smith, and Dave Smith packed him up on live stream, which was undeniable. Even the votes that they did, the after votes, the before votes, the during votes, everyone was like, yeah, Dave Smith owns this. And I was like, all right, well, maybe we'll see something out of him because he joined the network. And then he went to the DNC and he was like, look at the DNC. All these people are fake. All the lobbyists and people who own the DNC are up in the things. And I was like, okay, maybe he's thinking about taking that red pill and popping right out of the matrix. But then, like the withering cackles of a failed vice president, he laughed himself right back into being a clown. When he could have easily just been like, well, all my friends are podcasters who are friends with the people I just claimed, the Benny Johnsons, the Ben Shapiros, all those people, the Dave Smiths, all the people I'm involved. He's a podcaster now, by the way, old Chrissy Cuomo, and he thought he was going to go the drama route. So he just starts calling out all the other podcasters, and I think the only reason he said what he said is to get that engagement. Because he knows he's got nothing else. He's hated on the internet. The only people who liked him are his brother and half of New York. And they're still watching MSNBC. They're not even looking at podcasts. And when they do, it's only Call Her Daddy. And even then, they don't know what half the things are saying because it's just white noise most of the time. And so I think what he's doing is he's just trying to get engagement. I think it's a cheap shot. But again, he's Italian and he takes shots, just like his brother. They're Italian. That's what they do. And so that's it. Oh, they're Italian, Sean. Early life says Italian too, so don't go there.
I mean, I'm half Italian. I'm an Irish Dago. I'm a McWop, dude.
Okay, that explains it.
Believe it or not, I am probably two of the worst people that could ever be imagined outside of whatever. We're not going to go there. But anyways,
I feel like there's a gummy that can just deregulate you from IDS.
Oh, hey, hold on. Can we talk the restricted? Not to go back to the APAC and the IDS thing. I know I caused this trench that we've been stuck in, but I'm going to try to keep us out of it. Restricted said PBD has not so subtly distanced himself from Cuomo since the debate. Is that true? I didn't even pay attention. Is he not really with Bet David anymore? That would make sense.
Huh.
They did not seem to get along too well.
Really?
The Cuomos are idiots. They always have been. They always
They really
will
are.
be. Andrew, Mr. Killing Grannies and Grabbing Fannies.
That's it. Grabbing I like that.
Killing Grannies and
I'm
Grabbing
stealing
Fannies.
that.
That's Andrew Cuomo in a nutshell, man. The guy who had literally the worst COVID restrictions, along with my wonderful our governor, Gretchen Hitler, and California's wonderful governor, Gavin Hitler. Let's just put it this way. The Cuomos are about as relevant as my butthole, honestly, because they have done nothing ever since Andrew got axed and put out on blast for sex crimes and whatnot. That family has not been the same, and they shouldn't be the same. As a matter of fact, every single shit leftard who is out there screaming this nonsense, what they've been screaming for the last, God, we'll say 4 years, but really it's been 8 to 12 years, maybe even 16 years. Go back to the beginning of Obama. I mean, for crying out loud, all this left nonsense that comes out with, hatred and race baiting and gender nonsense and who's a woman and what's a woman and blah, blah, blah. Like, the left has lost all credibility, especially after this election where they got steamrolled. Honestly, I know, it took forever and ever to figure out who the House was, because Americans don't know how to count and blah, blah, blah. But seriously, the left has not only been put on blast, but they are now suspect because their own voter base turned against them. That's why Kamala Harris lost so bad. She was embarrassed. This last election, that was an embarrassment to the Democratic Party. And they did it to themselves by their nonsense with the gender euphoria or the utopia or whatever you want to call it, with the infanticide. That's what they thrived on for the past, we're going to call it 16 years. We're going to call it 16 years. And it had to do with, killing your babies or, cutting off your dick and becoming a chick. That's what it had to do with for the last 16 years. And it's over now. This is over. This is one thing I do love about the Trump campaign, is that this nonsense is over. They're not going to cater to it. They're going to pull funding of Medicaid of any doctors who want to do this stuff. Yes, I'm on board with some of Trump's shit. 100%. 100%. Because we can't live in a fantasy land anymore. And Democrats are seeing it for themselves, which is why Jill Stein came in third place. The Green Party of all parties came in third place here, the bronze medalist of a U.S. election.
That's exact. Yeah, you nailed it. Absolutely. Will, I want to ask you on this particular topic.
What you got?
How much do you think that this trans stuff and this woke ideology damaged their party?
I think it damaged it greatly. I absolutely do think so. And I think half of them are doubling down and half of them are trying to distance themselves. And I think it's going to be a major split going forward. If the Democrats were smart, they would return to sanity, at least, which I think is what they're going to do. I think they're going to start trying to just hush hush on those particular topics. The problem is once you let the trans genie out of the bottle, there's no getting them to go back into the bathroom they're assigned to. So that's going to be a real issue for them. But yeah, I think it's damaged them a lot. And the reason I say people, I think I did a clip of John Oliver going off being like, this doesn't happen. And when it happens, it's not a big deal. And Jen Psaki came out recently and she was like, it's so rare. I don't understand why Republicans are making a big deal about it. But okay, if it's so rare, then we can ban it outright, which is fine because it's only like 3 people who might, like, if it's so rare, then it's fine making sure that they don't go in the bathrooms that they shouldn't go into. But they don't want to do that. Like it's the same thing with abortions. Like late term abortions don't happen. It's like, all right, well, let's ban them. They're like, no, don't do that. Like, well, then you're not making any sense. And so because they're incoherent and they're They're just not consistent with their beliefs, or because they're lying all the time. That's the problem. They're just lying about it. It's not happening, but it is happening, and it's good. And if it's good, and you're just mad about it, and it's that whole circle all over again. I think they're going to have to distance themselves, and I think what they're most likely going to do is pull a MAGA on the Democrat side. Is what I would like to see. Well, no, that's not what I'd like to see, but I think that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a new movement in the Democrat Party, led by somebody normal, but that's going to be hard because most of the normal people left and are on the MAGA side. But I would assume if they really wanted to take back in 4 years, they would make a Democrat version of MAGA, and then they would run that. But if that can only that can only happen is if they smarten up, and I don't think this election was good enough for that. I don't think they're going to learn a lesson. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem like they think they did anything wrong. Their go-to explanation why they lost is because America's racist and they're not ready for a black woman president. And because of that, they're just going to be like, well, we need to run a black woman Latino or something, and they'll try to solve it that way. But I don't.
So you think they've learned nothing?
I don't think so. No.
I mean, essentially, that's what it is.
Here's the problem. Every time a Democrat learns something, they switch sides. So the Democrats can't. No, I'm not even joking. Every time a Democrat learns something, they switch sides.
You're right.
Because once you learn it, you're like, oh, why am I on this team? And then you hop over. That's why half of Trump's cabinet's Democrats. It's not that they're bad people in Trump's cabinet. It's because they're people who were like, hey, this other team is way out of bounds. And they're like, let's just hop over on the same side. It's not a big tent. It's just a sane tent, which makes it seem it's actually kind of small because there's not that many sane people out there. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't think they're going to learn anything from it. They're going to keep riding the thing out, calling everybody Hitler. Everybody's a racist. Everybody's misogynist, and everybody's just evil because that's their only go-to.
Too. Let's just.
Oh yeah. Let's not forget that.
Anti-Semites.
Yep. That one's the big one. That one's the big one. That one's the big.
Even though Democrats hate Jews too, apparently, they don't want the war in Israel. That's why they're storming the streets and getting loud, talking about death to America over Palestine, which happened right down the road from my house. I'm not too far from Dearborn, Michigan, where they were chanting death to America. That's a 15-minute drive up the freeway, straight up.
Yeah, here's the funny part about Democrats, and I feel bad that they only function this way. The Democrats would not be so against the Israel and this Palestine thing if Israelis were slightly more tan. The problem with that Democrats is they don't think deeply. They only built off what they can see right off the bat. And the only reason they like Palestine over Israel is because Palestine seems to be a little bit darker than their white passing brothers, the Jews. That's where it comes down to. So if you were to switch sides, if the Israelis were a little bit more tan and the Palestinians look like me, they wouldn't be on the Palestine side. That's just the fact.
So when it comes to Thanksgiving, do you like dark meat or white meat?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I like a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
That's what she said.
White and dark taste the same when they're smothered in stuffing and gravy. I'll say that. And the lights are off.
Yeah, when all the flavors integrated into the meat, you kind of want to enjoy it more. Sean, go ahead.
I'm which the Thanksgiving part because I just prefer the ham. I'm not a big fan of turkey unless it's deep fried, honestly.
Ham. See, there you go with that anti-Semitic rhetoric again. Why's it got to be ham?
Anti-pork. Oh man.
Why are you such an anti-Semite?
How about this? Give me a prime rib, dude. I'll smoke a prime rib for hours on my own Weber kettle, and I will cook it for myself. I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving because the whole premise of it is fake, and we don't have enough time to get into that. But Thanksgiving is kind of a joke. It really is. Like, hey,
we got about 12 minutes to get into it.
This is why we can't have nice things, man. If everything's a joke and it's run by everybody that you shouldn't be noticing, then you can't have anything good. What's your favorite holiday, Sean? What's your favorite holiday?
I don't really have one.
That's my point exactly. You can't enjoy life because you're too busy looking for the people who own it.
I know. I just want to sleep, man. Like that'd be my perfect holiday is to actually sleep for once in my life.
You just want to go. It's the only place the Jews can't get you. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, nobody's coming.
Dude, Legacy Zach said Hanukkah is his favorite holiday. There it is.
Well, because he's a Jew, of course. Go figure.
Wait. Is it? Legacy Zach Jew.
Legacy Zach is Jewish.
Oh, perfect. We should have had him on.
Oh no, he doesn't like the Israel lobby just as much as I do.
Never mind. He's not allowed. He's a bad Jew. He's not very good at being Jewish.
Love you, Zach Attack. Grumpy Gnome, Black Friday is my favorite. He says, why has it got to be black? Is that a racist thing? Can it be White Friday or Mexican Friday? Or
no, that feels racist.
Zach says, I'm a Catholic. You're a Catholic Jew. Holy shit, you're going to hell.
No, that's a Messianic Jew. That's part of the covenant. That's
allowed?
Wait, what? What are you talking about? Of course it's allowed. No, see, you're mixing up the ethnicity versus the religion thing. You can absolutely.
No, I'm really just being funny, honestly.
Oh, okay. I was like, hold on. I have to. I missed up on that one. I was like, oh, here we go again.
Grumpy Gnome, good night, brother.
Grumpy
Gnome is like literally my OG follower. Like seriously, one of the very first ones, dude. It's awesome.
Incredible. I love it. Guys, give your last pitch. We're about to get off of here. Sean, I'm gonna give you the first solo out.
Y'all know what, guys? My pitch out of here is this. Do what you got to do for you. Make your life what you need to make it. Go to work, make your money, be happy, love Jesus Christ, love yourselves, love your neighbor. That's where I'm at. And you can also follow me at Buds in Reality, like Guns N' Roses with the letter N, Buds, letter N, Reality. It's a homage type thing. I'm a big music fan, as you guys mostly know. But like, no, seriously, we're at a time right now as a nation and as individuals to where like we might just want to do what makes us happy right now. And that's what I got. Honestly, that's, do what makes you happy, but also get right with the Lord. I really highly encourage all of you to get right with Jesus, especially in this time of craziness.
Amen. Absolutely. 100%. Thank you, brother. You're absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to have you on again.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
All right. So it went straight to me. I was reading Zach's comments. Buds and anti-Semitism. I'm dying. Your entire chat is hilarious. I love it. Guys, my name's David Lilly. I have a show called Pardon Will Podcast, and on Sunday nights I do Pardon Will Live. You can find it there, 8:30 Eastern time, because on the Lord's time, not the central garbage. You can find me there, or you can go to my socials. It's Pardon Will Art. The reason behind the art is because I'm an artist. So if you like what I do, you think it's a good time, you want to support me, you can go to my website, pardonwill.com. Easy to find. Buy some art, go on there, chit chat, do whatever, hack it, put up whatever you want. It's fine too. I'm cool with all of those. Cajun, thank you for having me on. Absolutely love this. Hopefully I'll be on again. Hopefully be on multiple times and slowly go and take this whole thing over the way all the people who own everything do. I know I don't have any hats on, especially not little ones, but maybe I'm taking notes over here. Anyway, thanks for having me on, dude. Love you. Love everybody in the chat. And y'all have a wonderful night.
Thank you for both of you being absolutely incredible, honest, and just amazing. What an incredible night. It's been fantastic. Closing in on 2 hours of just remarkable, honest content and analysis from two of the best people on the internet. Please go like and subscribe the show, share it with everyone you know, and follow these people, David and Sean. Please do that immediately and share everything that they have if you agree with it. Or if you don't, post it with a comment that says that you have a better idea. All of this is worthy. All of it is worthy. We love each and every one of you, and we are out.